Hello, Lindsay. I'm very glad decided to come in today. My name's Jordan Riashi, and I'm a registered counselor here in the state of New Hampshire. We have a lot to talk about today, and we have about 10 minutes to go over some stuff, but I just wanted to start with some of the papers that you kind of looked over and signed before you came in. Just make sure you understand everything, and then we'll jump into what brought you in today. Um, So I'd like to go over more specifically the privacy and confidentiality section of the documents. There's, you know, you coming in here, most of the time, no one's going to know anything you tell me about. It's all going to remain completely confidential and it's not going to leave this room. There's only three scenarios where I would have to tell someone and I'd have to become a mandated reporter. The first being abuse or neglect of a minor, elderly person, or someone who is disabled and unable to take care of themselves. The second reason I'd have to break confidentiality would be if you ask me to do so. So if you would want someone to come join us, or if you'd want me to send what we talked about to one of your doctors or physicians or whoever, I would just have you sign a couple documents and that would allow me to disclose information to the people or parties that you would like me to disclose the information to. And the third and final exception would be if I strongly suspect that there's a serious or immediate threat of physical harm to yourself or to others. This doesn't mean that if you were to tell me that you are having suicidal thoughts, or you are angry at another individual, that I'd go out and tell anyone. I would only be forced to disclose information regarding this if I believe that upon leaving our session, you are going to immediately act on these feelings in a serious and harmful manner. Now, that all being said, if I needed to disclose anything we discuss at any point, I will tell you ahead of time and, make sure that you know that I'm going to be telling whomever I'm forced to tell. So I just don't want you to be blindsided in any way or feel as though I'm kind of just breaking the confidentiality without letting you know. So you will know ahead of time. And, I know that's kind of a lot to take in really quickly just at the beginning of the session. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Sounds good.
All right, perfect. So we got about 6 or 7 minutes left today. And, now that all of the legal stuff is out of the way, I'm just wondering what brought you in today.
So I've been having a lot of trouble motivating myself to start my homework, especially ahead of time. I've been pushing it off to the last minute a lot, kind of doing everything in a panicked rush at the end, but still not being able to get myself to start it any earlier.
Yeah, I understand. So it's kind of you're dealing with somewhat of a procrastination problem where you don't have the motivation to do anything and you sort of leave it till the last minute.
Definitely. And for a while that worked out for me. I was able to kind of handle it, but it's definitely become more overwhelming the more I push things off. And the more I continue to not do them in good time.
Yeah, I understand.
So I think it's been a little difficult. I live with five other people. We all have a lot of homework, and sometimes I do want to spend time with the people I live with, and it gets a little difficult when I push things off to nighttime because that's when people are usually free too. So not only am I stressing myself out trying to rush and do assignments, I also am not being able to spend time with the people I enjoy spending time with because their free time is my I need to rush and get my homework done time.
So you're having problems with, trying to maintain your social life and your academic life and sort of juggling all of the stuff you got to get done by a certain time.
Mm-hmm. It definitely is a lot of things to try to do at once. I think online classes are adding to that too because it's a little harder to motivate myself to do work for a class that isn't physically happening. It's harder to look at a class that has no communication and be like, I need to put in communication and get work done when I'm not getting any communication back.
Okay, so it's a problem with, it's something somewhat of a new problem because of the online courses that you're taking now due to COVID,
I've always been a bit of a procrastinator, but online classes have definitely made it much worse.
of course. Is there a reason why online classes seem tougher for you?
I think it's really like the lack of that physical motivation, like going in person and seeing a teacher and seeing classmates every day. I was like, these people are also doing the work. That teacher is the person I'm handing it into. Sitting physically in this desk is me attending this class. But online classes, I'm like, oh, I'm sitting in my room. Everybody's cameras are off. It's just squares on a screen. Sometimes I see the teacher, sometimes I don't. It doesn't have like the I am sitting in this class and I am turning in my work to this teacher for this reason. It's like I am looking at my computer, I am looking at my computer and doing work for I don't know why.
So it's a sort of you feel detached from what you're learning, what you have to get done, You're getting all these assignments in, but you don't feel attached. You can't attach it to any class or anything because it's asynchronous. You're detached from the whole class in general because of the online classes.
Yeah, it definitely is tough. I have one asynchronous class which has started doing once weekly meetings. We were having no meetings until like last week. I feel much better already, just having gone to one meeting and seeing the teacher in person, even though only three other people went. I was like, look, I have classmates, they exist. This class is actually happening. This is a teacher I'm turning work into. That definitely helped me out a lot, so I'm hoping those continue. And I'm hoping some of my other classes maybe start having more meetings or just more communication, I guess, so it feels like there is a physical class happening and a physical person to turn things into.
Okay, so, just the small act of being able to see the teacher that you're turning in work to did help a lot.
Definitely.
Is there anything you're doing to kind of help motivate yourself to get these things done, even though you feel detached from doing them, or are you kind of just going through the motions?
I've been keeping a little agenda book with all my assignments written in it. I've been doing that for years now. It's definitely helps with procrastination, which again I've been doing for years. Um, I'm starting to try to organize it a little differently. Instead of just writing down in order of when they're due, I'm going to try to start writing down in order of which is most important, because then I can at least. I feel like when I complete assignments, I feel more motivated to complete more because I'm like, oh, that wasn't too bad once I actually got started. I can do more. But when I do them in order of when they're due, the due date creeps up and I'm like, oh, it's not due for a couple more days. I'm fine. If I do them in order of importance, then all of the due dates aren't going to be right then. And I'll still finish them and be like, oh, maybe I'll feel better and be able to do some more days ahead of time instead of waiting until the end of the week to do my whole week's worth of assignments.
Okay. So the idea of, the due date creeping up kind of forces you to get stuff done, but when it's due in a couple days or in a couple weeks, you tend to push it off until it's urgent enough to get it done.
Yeah, right now, most of my classes, the entire week's worth of work is due Saturday at midnight. So on a Tuesday night, I'm like, I have 4 more days. I don't need to do anything. And then Friday and Saturday come along, and I'm like, I have a week's worth of work to do. Why did I do this to myself? So I think importance is definitely helping me with that because I don't just see a bunch of Saturdays and go, oh, I can wait. Instead, I see this is worth a lot of points. I should get this done ahead of time.
And the act of getting it done sort of motivates you to continue getting other stuff done because it's not as bad as you made it out to seem in your head.
Definitely. I think it's the starting that's tough to do. Once I get into it, I can continue pretty well. It's really just the starting and getting myself to do something to begin with.
Okay. Well, we have about a minute left today, but I just wanted to sort of give you a moment to say anything you'd like to say, anything you'd like to talk about before the session ends so that we can pick it up next time.
All right. I definitely, I think if I keep writing things down, keep myself organized, maybe write more detail down instead of just do the assignments, because sometimes I end up writing that instead of do the reading, do the test, do the quiz. I think if I just be a little more detailed and plan a little more fully, maybe I'll get my work done better on time. I think that could definitely help me out. But it's the starting the work that's tough. Once I get to it, I'm okay. But I think if I plan it out a little better, I'll probably be able to start it a little bit better.
Okay, so, the session's almost over, but it sounds like we got a lot out today, and I think until next week, I think you should work on being more detailed in what you write down in your planner and maybe reach out to some of your professors and see if they could schedule a time to meet just to make you feel more connected to the classes that you're taking and the work that you're doing.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like it could work and it would help me out.
All right, well, thank you very much for coming in today.
Thank you.